Warning, the Stone Age Gamer includes a lot of bad language. Cover your mother ears.
Good evening and welcome to episode 158 of the Stone Age Gamer podcast for the week of July 14th, 2017. I am Kris Randazzo, and joining me as always is 7up Spokes. Dan Ryan.
Did you see a sign out front of my house?
We've got ourselves a listener request episode on our hands, and it's going to be a fun one. We've also got the results for the last Summer Series poll, which we'll announce at the end of the show. Before we go any further, here's your weekly reminder that you can email us at mail@geekade.com. Just include the word Stone Age Gamer in the subject line, and you can let us know what you think of our show, what topics you would like us to discuss in the future, or just say hello, because we always want to hear from you, the listener. Dan, how you doing?
Oh, Kris, it has been just a whirlwind of a day. So, where I work, the building I work in, does not have air conditioning.
Oh, and it was toasty today.
It was toasty today. Like, toasty is not the fucking way. Like, I was spritzing from the moment I had eyebrow sweat going on. It was awful. It was
like Scorpion's armpit.
It really was. I was the hottest of hot messes. So that sucked. But then we got the word that because we don't have air conditioning in the building will be closed tomorrow, so I don't have to go to work tomorrow. Oh. So that's really exciting. And on top of that, I got my refund check from going to grad school, so I went to IKEA and spent $500. Because...
Did you get your car fixed, though?
Yes, yeah, no, I did that too, yeah.
I thought maybe you drove the broken car to IKEA.
No.
Risking life and limb for Swedish furniture.
No, got car pretty much, I think, fixed. I don't know, we'll see. It's a weird transmission thing. So, well, because, like, when I picked the car up from the guy yesterday, and he was like, we took the transmission fluid out of your transmission. It was black, which isn't good. I said,
it's supposed to be red.
Yeah, I know. So black is bad, apparently, according to the experts. And I was like, well, what do you think? Like, am I looking okay here? Do I need more work? And he was like, well, it's 50-50. Either this fixes it or it made it worse. I was like, what kind of shit is that? That's not a fucking diagnosis. It's not a 50-50, like it either fixed it or totally fucked it. Like, what kind of horse shit did I just spend $200 on?
Did you take your car to a witch doctor? What did you do?
I did. He just went outside and went, ooga booga, you should be good to go. And I went, oh, thank you,
Shook some fucking bones at it and said either it's fixed or it's going to grow bat wings in the morning. I don't know.
Bat wings would be a fucking improvement. I don't think bat wings have a fucking transmission.
I don't think they can move a car either, but...
Well, I don't. Depending on the size of the bat. I mean, some giant bats that you find, it might be... Are we talking about the airspeed velocity of an unladen bat? Is that what we're going with now? It's... Jesus Christ. So my house is now full of Swedish furniture that I have to put together on my day off, but I am going to go see Spider-Man as well, so, budget hands, I think it's been a pretty good 24 hours. Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Nice. I'm going to IKEA this weekend, actually.
IKEA's the fucking best. I feel so white when I'm there. It's the whitest I ever feel in my life.
But it's weird because, at least every time I've ever gone to IKEA, it seems like the ratio of white people is remarkably low.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it is the cavalcade of every... Like, IKEA is the American dream because
it really is.
Every single race, creed, color, and species are walking around in that place. Like, good luck finding two people in a row that even know how to talk to one another.
It's a fascinating place. It's oh man, I do love it. But now my children now will have new beds, and we painted their walls, and like because they're twins and they share a room, we taped off the wall, and we didn't intend for it to look this way. The house that we moved into, one of the walls was already black, which is kind of weird. And Penny wanted the wall to stay black, and I was like, no, you're fucking 8. You're not allowed to have a black wall yet. Like, that's just not you need to be cute for a little while longer before I let you go down that fucking road. So she decided on orange, and Katie decided on purple. So we kind of taped it off so that they would have 2 sections of the wall that were that were theirs, and it ended up looking like a comic book panel done in Starfire's colors, like painting the orange and the purple over the black made it exactly Starfire's color palette. So it came out pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's a thing.
Well, speaking of things, I right before the show, the reason I was running a tiny bit late, the reason is because I was involved in a cleaning project down here in my fancy new basement. So the previous tenants left a couch, and it came to my attention that said couch was not cleaned, like, at all, when my son was jumping around on the couch, and then he reached in between the cushions and pulled out a sock I had never seen before.
Nice.
That was encrusted with filth. So earlier today, I was down here with the kids, and my daughter rolled something under the couch, and I turned on my flashlight and looked under the couch and saw a couple of empty Corona bottles, and I was like, all right,
nice.
I'm taking care of some business here. So this couch that my kids have been jumping up and down on since we shampooed it, but my sister shampooed it, but she clearly didn't try to even do anything in between the cushions. I started cleaning between the cushions, and I was pulling out like nails, drill bits, like. So my kids have been playing on this thing, and there's all manner of sharp objects between the couch cushions.
I just gave my kids a rusty bottle cap to play with and said, hope you don't get tetanus.
And then I moved the couch to clean underneath it, and those Corona bottles weren't as empty as I would like them to be. And it was all dried and kind of sticky gross. So I don't know how long those had been under there or how they got under there with liquid still in them.
They were probably like a week old. Corona's fucking gross.
No, I mean, like, we don't drink Corona in this house. They were clearly from the previous tenant, and God knows how long they've been there. So that was a
fabulous.
hoot. And I was just kind of vacuuming and putting everything back together.
I'll tell you off the air what we found in the attic of the last place we lived in, because it's not appropriate for family conversation. Just do you remember?
Neither is this podcast.
Well, no, that's true, but when I ask you this question, Chris, you'll know exactly what I mean.
Okay. The
house that I used to come over to yours and watch Adult Swim.
Yeah.
Do you remember the defensive weapon that Jed had on top of your fridge?
Yes, I do.
The blank of justice?
Oh, yeah.
Whole bag full of them.
Wow. Bag?
Yeah. Oh, dude. Well, yeah. Later.
Not even the decency to put them in a box, huh?
Nope.
Wow.
The thought of them realizing that that's the bag that they left behind brings me joy on a daily basis.
Either that or they left it behind on purpose.
Ooh. Here you go. You guys
use your imagination, folks. Use your imagination.
What you're thinking is probably what it is.
Yeah.
Just put it out there. Send in what your thoughts on what was left in the attic to mail@geekade.com. Because we always want to hear from you, our filthy listeners.
Just put bag of dildos in the subject line.
Yep, there you go. We're not even hiding it anymore. A whole bag of sizes and shapes that I couldn't imagine would feel good for anyone, male or female. Fucking insanity.
Anyway, so...
Insanity.
Oh, God. What we're doing tonight is a listener request. We had a gentleman write into the show. His name was Marty C. Marty C. writes, "Hey guys, it's been a while since I wrote in, a year actually, but I wanted to say that I appreciated you guys discussing your favorite overlooked Game Boy games." I remember doing that episode. I wanted to mention that one I found called Cat Trap, otherwise known as Pitman, outside of the U.S. I bought a strange device called a GB Boy Color, essentially a surprisingly well-made bootleg Game Boy Color with a backlight that had a bunch of different games preloaded on it, and this game was one of them. You play as a cat person and have to kill all the enemies on the screen. The enemies do not attack you, and there is no time limit. Instead, you have to be methodical about how you take out the enemies, because each stage is functionally a puzzle where you have to use enemies or objects in the environment as platforms in order to take out all the bad guys. There's even a handy rewind button in case you screw up. It's a fun game that I never had heard of before. Well, that's pretty neat. Anyway, back to the email. Anyway, the original reason I decided to write in is because I had an idea for a topic. Has there ever been a game that you really seemed to enjoy that was universally panned, or at least deemed pretty bad, by games journalists and critics? I'm not saying the game has to actually be a good game, just something you had fun with. Thank you guys for the awesome show. I'm sorry for sending such a long email. Go with Gozer, Marty. Thank you, Marty. We will go with Gozer.
Yeah, Go with Gozer is a fabulous sign-off.
It is.
That is wonderful.
Good work. So I looked through while at work today when I had no internet functionality, so I couldn't actually do any of my job because the documents I edit are saved on SharePoint, which I needed the internet to access. Hooray! Right. So I looked through my entire video game collection that's in my phone, and I came up with 8 games. And how many did you come up with?
Wow, 3. And I struggled with that.
All right.
I really, and maybe some more will come to me as we're talking about it, but like I really had a hard time thinking of games that I really enjoyed that were universally panned. Like it's kind of a hard thing now with the internet being the global melting pot that it is. Mm-hmm. Like there is a fan community for fucking everything.
Yeah, there is. I think I may have been a little less discerning than you on my choices, but
it's possible.
There are definitely games that I have heard people give lots of shit to in the past, and that was pretty much my criteria. If I had heard of people hating on these games on a regular basis that I really like, that was my criteria.
Okay, well, in that case, I just came up with a 4th one. So, yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
You go first, though, because you've got more.
All right, my first one can really be applied to most of the library, but I'm going to call out specifically Mario Clash for Virtual Boy. This game, I feel like this game got a lot of flack for what it wasn't instead of what it is. It
wasn't a new Mario game in the traditional side-scrolling sense, so automatically we hate this.
Yeah, like it was the first Mario game on the platform besides Mario's Tennis, which I also love. And it just didn't. I don't know. You don't really hear anybody talk about it. You hear people talk about good Virtual Boy games. They talk about Virtual Boy Wario Land and Jack Brothers, and I think Jack Brothers is very overrated. Virtual Boy Wario Land is spectacular, but I freaking love Mario Clash. It's
and Jack Brothers is rated so highly because it's so hard to get. Like
it's
really
the
does
Atlas
play.
connection. You know, it's part of that Shin Megami Tensei universe technically.
Yeah, which is weird, but
it is weird. Oh, that's weird.
It's a whole other thing. Yeah,
podcast for another podcast. So
I think you're probably right though that the Virtual Boy probably gets more shit than it fairly deserves.
Yeah, I mean the system itself is not. It was a good idea that was just hindered by so many tech. Like it wasn't a great product. Like there's no getting around that. It's
it
just
was 20
not a great
years
product.
ahead of its time.
Yeah, it just wasn't ready to be done yet. But the games themselves are like there's a handful of them that are pretty decent. I think I mentioned on the show before there's a baseball game for it that's pretty simplistic, but it's like really fun old school video game baseball. Like something you'd like Super Bases Loaded or something. It's not trying to be a big simulator or anything. It's just a fun simple baseball game. Mario Clash,
basically a timing game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Tellero Boxer is a really neat punch-out style game with giant robots. I mean, there's cool stuff on there. Mario Clash is a new take on the original arcade Mario Brothers, which is pretty much my favorite arcade game. I absolutely love Mario Brothers, and it was a really neat take on it where you got 2 different planes, like one closer to the camera and one farther away. And instead of punching underneath the creatures to knock them down, you have to go to a different plane and throw something at them. And then you go and kick them down or knock them off or pick their shells up and throw them around. It's It's really, really fun game, and it's it's not the most complex or complicated thing. It's very arcade style, but I think those were the kinds of games they were going for on Virtual Boy because the idea isn't to sit and play it for 6 hours at a time. It's
Right.
not a good idea. So I don't know. I really like that game, and I know a lot of people give it flack, and I don't think it deserves it.
I think that's probably pretty fair. Like we've covered Virtual Boy here before, and my experience with Virtual Boy is pretty damn limited. But yeah, I mean, I think that's fair.
I'm really looking forward to putting a little bit of time into this one because I just since it was Prime Day this week, I ordered myself a Raspberry Pi.
Nice.
And I'm really excited to get it all set up and play Virtual Boy games on my TV. So I don't have to look into my Virtual Boy to play them. And I do intend to spend some time on Mario Clash. Very excited about it.
Well, all right then.
All right, you're up.
All right, well, the first one I'm going to go with is a game that that has good reviews from people who have played it. But the thing that I remember hearing a lot when it came out was if I wanted to play God of War, I would just play God of War. I don't need to play this new Rygar game. And
whoa, who was giving that review? Rygar came out what was it, like 2 years before God of War did?
Or something like that. I don't know. That's what I heard. Like working in GameStop in Maze Landing, like I would try to sell that game to people who liked God of War, and they were like, "It's a fuck God of War ripoff." And I'd be like, "No, it's really not." And like, this is just personal experience working maybe in a dumber area. Sorry, Maze Landing. But like people kind of bashed the game in the store that I worked in as being a derivative of God of War, which this game did not sell very well. You know what I mean? It did eventually get, I think, a port to the Wii.
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
Right, yeah, and maybe people hate on that game now, and that's probably fair. I don't know. I didn't play the Wii.
It was 3 years before. It was 2002. God of War was 2005.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you what I heard.
I freaking loved this game, and I loved selling it, too.
I thought this game was great.
I think I was working at Toys R Us at the time.
Maybe.
Was it Toys R Us? I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was Toys, because we were in the Toys in Maze Landing, not in the Funko Land. We were at Toys R Us.
I wasn't there. I was at Game Crazy. That's where I was at that time.
Oh, that's right. You were there.
Yeah, I had left.
I hadn't gotten to Game Crazy yet because I hadn't moved up to New York yet, and I was working in the Game Crazy in Brooklyn when God of War came out, and I was at the Toys R Us in Maze Landing when this came out, and I loved this game because I love the original Rygar.
This game is great.
It is. It's really great. I mean, I'm sad that it didn't catch on more because it's not. It's pretty well put together. Rygar is a cool game universe. Like
it's a very cool universe, and this game plays really well. I mean, it's a PS2 game, so it looks like a PS2 game, but it looked really great at the time.
It really did.
Swinging the shield attached to the fucking chain was really cool.
The disc armor, yeah.
The disc armor. There you go. Thank you. This was a really cool game. I'm sorry. I apologize. I take it back. People of Maze Landing. I apologize. People of Glassboro, though, can fuck directly off.
Well, yeah, because at a certain point, God of War did everything this game did better. Even the setting, like, Rygar has this kind of vaguely Greek setting going on, and then God of War just did that infinitely better. So, unfortunately, like, now that God of War exists, when you go back to Rygar, you're like, well, this is all right. But at the time, in a pre-God of War world, Rygar was really cool, and it was a great modernization of that game.
I think so as well. I'm looking at a review right now, a negative review. Somebody called it a Devil May Cry clone, which I find kind of silly.
Yeah, that is pretty. That's weak right there.
That's weak.
There's no guns in this game, and this game is not about style. It's I want to find that person and smack them.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this game. And unfortunately, I think, and this is where I was saying I kind of had a problem. Like, this game was well reviewed, and the people who have played it liked it, but I don't think a lot of people played this game, whether on the PS2 or the Wii. And
I know,
maybe
like, nobody played
maybe
it on
I'm
the Wii.
wrong. I could be wrong on that, but
I don't think
remember
so.
this like burning up the charts or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like this didn't. I don't think this got a greatest hits version. I don't think this like really caught fire probably like it should have. This game's awesome.
Yeah, I don't remember it selling through the roof or anything. It definitely should have sold more than it did. But I remember the Wii remake of the game, which was like 6 years later.
Yeah,
It was essentially the same exact game, but they tacked on waggle controls and they redesigned the main character.
God,
and
I
they
can't
covered
imagine
him
how
with
bad
weird
that is.
tattoos and spiky white hair. And it was like, what in the world are you doing?
I can't even imagine how bad that was.
It just flaming hot garbage. Just a shame. Like that's really and that was the nail in the coffin for that series. Like that was because they wanted to try to repackage that game and resell it, but the redesigning of the main character, like the motion controls, they're crap, but they're nothing compared to the insult to your eyeballs that is the new character design. It was
that's
atrocious.
weird. That's weird. I'm trying to see if I can get some sales numbers real quick while we're talking about it, because this was really an awesome game, and I really wish more people would play it. I'm trying to look it up right now. Oh God, let's see. Total units in North America, 200,000. 460,000 worldwide.
Yikes. Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That's not great.
As of the 3rd of June, 2017, this game has sold 0.46 million units worldwide, which is 460,000, right? Am I right on that?
I think so.
I could be
I'm
wrong.
bad at math.
Yeah, me too. I'm not. I just don't care that much.
Why study industrial arts? Because you're bad at math. I love Mystery Science Theater.
But
Well,
yeah,
that
I
was a
mean,
good
like
one.
that's a crazy, like that is a crazy low number. Yeah, and see, look, I'm looking at it right here on VG charts. Like, I'm not making this shit up. There's only 2 comments, but the first comment, God of War owes lots to this game. Like, no, like, come on, stop. It's not a God of War clone.
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop.
All right.
Anyway, Rygar, play it. Rygar, Legendary
PS2.
Adventure.
Do
PS2.
it. Rygar Wii, Run Screaming. Let's see. My next one is a game that I have an affinity for, and a lot of people dismiss it out of hand because my game is Cool Spot, specifically the Super Nintendo version.
Do people hate on that game? Or is it just that they dismiss it because it's the
Because it's a
7-Up
mascot
guy?
game, yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's the
okay.
game about the freaking 7-Up spot. I mean, I'm pretty sure that if anybody who's actually played it will probably be like, this game's kind of cool. But for the most part, you say like, man, do you have Cool Spot? And somebody looks at you like, why the hell do you want
why would
the
I have
7-Up
that?
spot game? Why would I have that? Why would I want that? And it's because that game's really cool. It's it's got this weird, almost momentum based running to it. Like, yeah, you start off slow and you get a little bit faster, not quite Sonic the Hedgehog levels, but it's got a little bit of that, and you can shoot in all directions, kind of like a Samus, and it's neat. It's just a neat game. Like, the spot itself is pretty adorable. He makes these really cute sound, and you're out saving other spots and collecting dots and 7-Up things. It's got a great Tommy Tallarico soundtrack. Who's the guy who also did the music for Earthworm Jim, and the visual styling is really good too. This is an old Virgin Interactive game, and it's very very well animated. And the way they did it was that the world is very relative sized to the spot. So not relative sized. I'm not saying that right. Like the spot is in the game as big as a spot on a 7-Up bottle at the time would be. So, like, the first stage when you're running on the beach, like, crabs and stuff are huge, and there's a giant beach chair because you're just a spot.
Right,
And so
you're tiny.
Yeah, you're tiny, so they really play with that in a lot of the stages, like the off the wall stage where you're like in between, like kind of behind the walls in a house, and it's all like giant bricks and whatnot. It's just a really great look to it, and there's all these mice in pajamas. It was very creative. It was very well done. It's not a masterpiece, but it's
No, sure.
really. It's one of my go-to Super Nintendo games. I adore it so much, and the Genesis version is also very good. I prefer Super NES sound over Genesis sound, and that's really the primary difference. I mean, the Super Nintendo game looks a bit better
because you have ears.
Well,
you know what?
That's a fun conversation. I used to always like really hands down Super Nintendo sound is 100% better, and now that I'm older, listening to a lot of stuff, I plan on doing a wave back thing of doing pitting Super Nintendo songs versus Genesis songs, because I really think that it's closer. There's more positives to the Genesis music than I ever thought there was a long time ago.
Right.
Because there is some really bad Genesis sound, but somebody dropped something.
I heard that.
Yeah. I think my wife dropped something upstairs. It's okay.
Hopefully it wasn't the baby.
Yeah. Baby's asleep. Baby's very asleep at this point.
That's what you think. She is plotting.
True.
She's fucking scheming. That's all she's doing. She ain't fucking sleeping.
She's up to something.
She is up to some shit.
So Cool Spot, I really like that game. I really do. And I have personally gotten flack for liking that game so much. Like I was on a mission to find that cartridge for a long time, and any place I'd go and ask for it, to be like, why do you want Cool Spot? And like, because it's an awesome game, damn it. It's a good game.
Right. We're not talking about Darkened Sky here. We're talking about
Yeah, no, like I genuinely like some awful games, but like I only like them because they're awful. Like,
right.
Sure, I am. It's not even a like; it's more of a fascination. Like I just bought all the Bubsy games, so I am fascinated with the Bubsy games. But I'm not going to defend liking Bubsy for Jaguar, because I bought a complete in box copy of Trevor McFur while I was out at Too Many Games. That game is a pile of garbage, but it's so absurd I had to have it, kind of a thing. These are not those kinds of games. These are games that I really enjoy and I think are good, that a lot of people do not think are good.
Yeah, again, I think like with this next game that I'm about to talk about, that is like the difference between you and I. Like, I think we've talked about it before, but I don't like Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's not a thing I enjoy. I do not like things because they are bad. You know what I mean? And I totally get where people see that. Like, there are a couple things where I'm like, Ed Wood made some truly awful movies, but there was some love there and some stuff that I can appreciate, you know. But just bagging on shit because it's terrible isn't really my thing. You know what I mean? So that's why I guess I have a harder time doing this sort of thing, because like I don't have a Cool Spot kind of game where people are like, why the fuck would you even buy that? The next one that I want to bring up is a game that doesn't have the greatest reviews, and I don't know that a lot. Again, it's something that a lot of people played, even though I mean it was released for the Ouya as well as PlayStation 3 and the Wii U and the Xbox 360 and Steam, and that is The Cave from Double Fine.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever played The Cave?
I own it, but I've never played it.
Dude, it's fucking dope. It's such a cool game. Like, what happens is that you get to choose at the beginning of the game. There's 7 different characters, technically 8, but one of them is a pair of twins, and they count as one, that you get to pick from. And as you go through, the levels within the cave itself change depending on the characters that you pick. Right, like you kind of play through their stories, so you have to play through it a couple times to get everybody's different stories in there. But like, there's a narrator throughout the game who's fucking hysterical. Like it's very, very dark humor. Like there's a lot of dark shit in this game, but it's very funny. There's a lot of There's a lot of like very touching moments in this. The puzzles that are in it, there's only like one or two, I think, like when I played through, I was like, that was a bit obtuse. Like that didn't really have some good, like that really wasn't laid out very well. Like each of the characters that you pick has like a different special power that you can use, and like it's this really, really cool game that Double Fine put out. It was a download only game. And like it's kind of middle of the road. You know what I mean? Like it has like a 70% on Metacritic, which Metacritic, like if you're below, like, because fans can rate that shit too. So if you're low, it's because people are trashing your game. You know what I mean? People are like, 1 star, this game fucking sucks. This game is the Al-Qaeda of video games. Like, fucking, like, people destroy these games, but it's so funny. And, like, if you dig Double Fine games and shit like Maniac Mansion and Full Throttle and Grim Fandango and whatnot, and The Cave is something that you haven't played, it is so fucking worth it. I love this game to little bitty pieces, and I never hear anybody talk about it.
I don't talk about it because I've never played it.
You really should. Like, I really think you would like this game a whole lot. And
apparently
like,
so did I, because I fucking bought it.
But like, what's weird about it is that, like, okay, so the Xbox, I'm sorry, I misread. The 360 version has a 72% rating. The PlayStation 3 has a 70%. The PC's at 68. The Wii U's at 62. Like, and it wasn't like, there's nothing different about this game on different platforms. They don't have different stories. They don't have different anything. Like, it's a very simple game, you know, like, just different people just didn't like it for whatever reason, and they're all wrong. That's what it comes down to. Every single person who didn't like this game is fucking wrong. It's really awesome, and I think more people should play it. It's very charming. I'm trying to see if I can go if I can go down and find a really shitty review. I love Metacritic. I don't know how often you look on Metacritic, Chris.
Almost never.
It's one of my favorite things. Like, when people, like, here's a critic review. This critic gave it a 1. Let's see. Oh god, this isn't even a good thing. To its credit, The Cave has amusing writing and a neat visual style, but charm alone cannot make up for its many technical flaws. Yes, it fucking can. That's the whole point of charm and good writing, dipshit. Anyway, it really doesn't have that many technical flaws. Like, it's really not a poorly made game. It's not perfect, but it's fucking dope. Play The Cave.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
We'll put it on the next poll. All right. Well, let me do one more before we take a break. The other one that I'm going to do is a game that I adore. It's for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and it gets an awful lot of crap, again, for not being something that it isn't. And the game I'm talking about is Castlevania Dracula X.
That game gets crap? Really?
Well, that game gets a ton of crap because it's not Rondo of Blood. It's like this
weird, it's not.
Kind of port of Rondo of Blood, and like, I get the anger. It's like being mad at Ewoks because they're not Wookiees. Granted, I like this game more than I like Ewoks, but like, it's that kind of a thing. Like, this game gets a ton of hate, like, for a couple of reasons. Like, number one, if you've played Dracula, Rondo of Blood, and then this is the version that we get here in America, it is a totally different game. Like, it's a lot of the same settings, but it's not the same stages. It's not the same layout. It's just not the same game. It's very much in line with the original Castlevania, stage by stage. You have no control over yourself after you jump. The other part of it that people tend to rag on is that, well, the last Super Nintendo Castlevania game was Super Castlevania 4, and I could whip in 8 directions, and I could moonwalk if I wanted to. I could, wiggle whip and control myself in midair. Like, they made the game so much more in control and less ghost and goblins. And this game kind of harkens back to more classic Castlevanias.
I don't think that's a bad game. I like that game.
I love that game because when I played it, I didn't know Rondo of Blood from a hole in the ground. I didn't know that game existed.
Nobody else did either. Like, come on. Fucking... dude, like, Rondo of Blood was Japan only. This game came out when? 94?
Let's find out.
That's my guess. And
it was definitely a relatively late Castlevania game. Super Nintendo game, I mean. Let's see. That's Rondo of Blood. I'm looking at the Wikipedia thing, and it's kind of lumped in with the Rondo of Blood because it is technically a port of that game.
Right.
Where is it? Dracula X. Dracula X.
Dracula X.
Really, really stupid name. BT Dubs.
Sure.
The plot is similar to Rondo of Bloods. Yeah.
Every time somebody says X like that, though, I immediately start singing DMX songs in my head, especially because I've watched Deadpool like 3 times in the last week. X gonna give it to you. It's fucking awesome.
Well, let's see what Metacritic has to say about this game.
Because, like, look, man, like the point that I was going with this is that I think it's often easy to forget just how different the world was before the internet. And you and I grew up in a time when if there was a Japanese exclusive thing, we didn't fucking know about it. Like, we didn't know it at all. Maybe you heard rumors and maybe you had, like, you knew one guy who imported shit, but like that was few and far between.
Well, this was also in magazines. I remember, I can't remember if it was GamePro or EGM, but I feel like the review I read for it in that in the magazines back in the day was comparing it to the Japanese-only Castlevania Rondo of Blood for the friggin' PC Engine, and that's just not something that we got here. And
it's a completely unfair.
Yeah, but I mean, this is something that I've heard from a lot of people a lot of times. Like when this finally got released on Virtual Console, there was this huge like, oh yeah, why are you putting that on Virtual Console? Rondo of Blood is there. It's like, well, it's a different game, and it's great classic Castlevania. Like, I love the first Castlevania game. I adore that game.
It's a great game.
It is, and
get
obviously
better at video games. That's kind of like Castlevania, and I say that. Normally, I hate when people say that kind of shit, but like Castlevania is a game, you have to know how to play that game. I kind of feel like video games a lot now, like you can kind of play video games like this big picture idea. You had to know how to play Castlevania, or you had to know how to play Ninja Gaiden, or you had to know how to play Ghosts and Goblins, or Wizards and Warriors, or all of these different games had a very specific thing to it. And a lot of times now, like, if you know how to play Uncharted, then you know how to play every other video game too. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, there's a little bit of a difference.
You have a universal understanding of 3D video games,
right? And I'm not saying that it's better or worse. It was just different back then, you know. And like old school Castlevania is hard. It's a hard fucking game. But once you learn the game, dude, you can speed run that game in like 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that long, you know what I mean? And it's not unfair. It just is a very different thing.
Now, to specifically to the point of Dracula X, if you are somebody who was turned off by negative reviews or people talking trash about this game, you really owe it to yourself to give it a try, because just don't go in expecting Rondo of Blood, because it's not that. But the fire effect in the first stage is remarkable.
It's awesome.
This game looks and sounds incredible, and it plays very much like the original Castlevania. You're very limited in your movements. Richter is not overpowered. It did a great job of making the sub weapons look really, really cool. Like, this game looks so much better than Super Castlevania 4 does. It's just,
it's not even close.
It's not even. And Super Castlevania 4 is not an ugly game, mind you, but this was really, really some next level art direction.
The sprite work is crazy
that was used in Symphony
different.
of the Night. Yeah. These are the same sprites that were used in Symphony. A lot of them, and it's really just a beautiful and awesome game. It's hard. It's Castlevania. It's the level design, like the actual level layouts themselves, aren't extraordinarily interesting, but the design, the art direction of them is just gorgeous. I really, really love this game, and I don't understand why it gets as much hate as it does.
I don't know. I think there's this thing that people do that I don't necessarily understand, and I'm going to make a comparison here to sports, because I'm a Yankees fan. I know your wife is a Yankees fan, right? And my whole life growing up in the South Jersey area, the biggest criticism that I ever had labeled against me towards my fandom of the Yankees was like, oh, they just buy all their championships. I hate the Yankees because they do this. They just buy their players. And I've never really understood that. Like, why do you hate the team that I like? Like, hate the team that you like because they draft shitty and don't spend money. You know what I mean? Like, hate your people because they're the ones that are doing that to you. It's like people in this area, like, we live in South Jersey. We're surrounded by Eagles fans, Chris. This is not a thing that is news to you. No. Eagles fans hate Cowboys fans with a passion. They hate them with a passion because the Eagles have never won a Super Bowl. And the people that the Eagles fans should hate are the Eagles ownership who can't draft players and who don't sign the correct players. Don't hate the Cowboys for being better at their jobs. Hate the people that you support. Like, I don't understand that. Like, it's a weird thing that a lot of people do. I don't get it. I really don't. It's like
there's plenty of legitimate reasons to hate the Cowboys.
Sure, hate them for like a whole list of legitimate reasons.
Hate them for calling themselves America's team.
Yeah, ugh, God, that's awful. But like, it's like people who hate when their bands sell out and make money. Like, why are you mad that they're getting paid? That's fucking stupid.
That's what they're trying to do.
Kids.
They're trying to do this for a living. They need to buy shit.
They're not trying to sleep on somebody's couch for the next 40 years so you could pay $8 to go see them at the First Unitarian Church up in Philly. They're trying to sell out the fucking... They're trying to sell out Madison Square Garden here, kids. That's the goal. So like, I just don't get that. And it goes with this of like, why are you hating Dracula X? Because it's not Rondo of Blood. That's dumb. It's a different thing.
It is.
Judge it upon its own merits, you know?
And like, I can almost see it because it is a kind of sort of half port of that game, but at the same time, like, you have to look at it as what it is and not what it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is a totally awesome Super Nintendo game. And what else it is time for us to take ourselves a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a few more games that fit this criteria, as well as announce the winners of our last Summer Series poll. You are listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast on Geekade.com. Stick around. And now here's a look at some of the other original content available right now at Geekade.com. Hey, Dan.
Yeah, Chris.
Did you know that it is almost the most wonderful time of the year again?
It's almost Christmas time. Christmas in July. It's my favorite thing. It's the second whitest I feel after I go to IKEA is when I celebrate Christmas. I went to a Christmas in July party last year with my Armenian friend, and he was like, yo, this is some white people shit. I was like, yes, it is. It's amazing.
No, Dan, it's almost time for our annual Pain in the Ass-a-thon.
That's what I was going to go with after Christmas in July, Chris. That was my second guess. The next best thing after Christmas in July.
Yes, Geekade and the Colon Cancer Alliance are teaming up once again for the Pain in the Ass-a-thon 2017, where we sit around and play Pain in the Ass video games for 24 hours straight. We'll be playing games like Comic Zone for Sega Genesis, Mega Man Unlimited for the PC, Zelda Wand of Gamelon for Philips CDI. Dean's even going to take another stab at Bubsy in Claws Encounters of the Third Kind. He's going to do it for 4 solid hours.
Evan has a cat, right?
Oh, yeah, I think he does.
Dean might actually stab an actual cat.
He might stab an actual cat.
Which would be a shame. Like, we obviously don't support violence here, but, like, I have seen that boy get angry at that game, and a second year in a row for another 4 hours after he'll have already been up for 20 hours at that point, and have probably played some Puzzle and Dragons 3-player dungeons with me and Matt, which is fucking a pain in the ass, believe me. You'll see. That's going to be brutal. I'm excited.
But there's some even crazier stuff happening because I think since we spoke about it here, we've learned that we will be joined actually physically in the same place, joined by Ferg from the Atari 2600 Game by Game podcast. He will be coming to where we are recording and hanging out with us, and he'll be playing...
He better bring some challah bread. That's all I'm fucking saying. I know it's his favorite. I want some challah bread baked by Ferg.
Do you hear that, Ferg? If you're listening, challah bread for Dan. It's what he wants out of life.
Please, Ferg.
He's going to be playing Sneak and Peek for Atari 2600, which is Hide and Go Seek for Atari 2600. I cannot wait. The two of us are going to play that together, and I haven't mentioned this to Dan yet, I don't think. But sometime around, I don't remember exactly what time, we were still working on the schedule, but I think sometime around 5 in the afternoon, we are going to be playing world-class track meet on the Power Pad. And I want to do the Olympics and get a nice 6-player match going. So you have an opportunity to watch some relatively out of shape grown men jumping around on a Power Pad.
Relatively out of shape? Fucking, we are all shapes, Chris.
We are all shapes.
We are not in any one shape whatsoever. We are multitudes of shapes, my friend.
You and Evan on a Power Pad is like my dream, okay?
Dude, I will be on my knees fucking whacking that shit with my hands like I did when I was 7. I don't even give a shit.
Does this not sound wonderful? Are you not entertained? This is all, we're going to be taking donations for the Colon Cancer Alliance the whole time. It's the idea is to raise money for colon cancer awareness. It is on August 5th and 6th, starting at 10 a.m. on August 5th, going till 10 a.m. on August 6th. It's 24 hours of nonstop pain-in-the-ass games. It's going to be a good time. We raised over $2,600 last year.
Which is awesome.
It is awesome.
That's an incredible thing to be able to be like, yo, we fucking raised this much money. That's great.
So we're hoping to top that this year. I'm going to go ahead and place our goal firmly at $3,000. So let's see if we can hit that this year. So
I was thinking 300, but three seems much more reasonable. You're right.
So stay tuned to Geekade.com for more details. And August 5th and 6th, mark your calendars. Get ready to throw a couple of bucks our way because we are going to try very hard to entertain your ass.
That's right. Can I drink on Twitch?
Absolutely.
All right, sweet. Maybe I'll just spend an hour talking about beer. That'll be fun. Maybe I'll just try and reenact Ron Swanson's bit from caning a chair on a fucking telecast on Parks and Rec. That'll be great. This chair's almost caning itself.
See you then. All right, we are back, and we're going to keep talking about some games that we love that the rest of the world seem to not love so much. And the next game on my list is Donkey Kong Land for Game Boy.
Yeah, people do hate this game. I don't really get why.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get why.
Do you?
I do. they tried to do the CG graphics on a Game Boy. And I'm not talking about Donkey Kong 94. I'm talking about the not Donkey Kong Country game that was for the Game Boy. It doesn't control as well as the Super Nintendo games, obviously. It looks bizarre, and the sprites are kind of big, so it definitely borders on some blind jumping from time to time. The game has its flaws, but the fact that all that stuff was built into the story of the game tickled me so much that it never bothered me when I was learning how to play it. And kind of like what Dan was saying, or what you were saying earlier about like you just had to learn games. This was one of those situations. You have to learn this game because it's got very unique physics to it, and I think the level designs were really clever. The story of this game, which I absolutely love, if you look in the instruction manual for Donkey Kong Land for Game Boy, Cranky Kong is hanging out with Donkey Kong, and he's like, so, Donkey Kong Country, big success, congratulations, but you're still a piece of shit. You know why? Because you would not have been even remotely successful if it wasn't for your fancy schmancy graphics. You got all this crazy graphics on the Super Nintendo. How would you do if you had, say, I don't know, a black and white Game Boy game with 2 buttons? Do you think you could do that shit? Because I don't think you could. And Donkey Kong's like, all right, I'm game, let's do it. That's the point of this game.
That's awesome.
That is so awesome. So the fact that the game is so much more limited is the point. It's great.
See, and like that proves the point, dude, of like, man, how many times do you see on Facebook somebody sharing a story that they obviously didn't read?
Yeah.
All the time. That's not a new fucking phenomenon. Like Facebook and like Twitter have made that this kind of like global, like, fuck, maybe we shouldn't have shared that. But like that shit has been going on for ages, where people look at something and go, ew, I'm going to prejudge that before I experience it and say it sucks and not even know what the point is. And we're all guilty of it. Like, I'm not saying I'm not guilty of that. But like the fact that that is the point of this game, I guarantee you that is the criticism levied against this game.
Oh yeah, it's another game that's judged for being something that not being something that it isn't, and it like I said, it does have a learning curve. Like this game is tough, but once you kind of get the hang of it and really appreciate it for what it is, which at the time was portable Donkey Kong Country basically, and it was to Donkey Kong Country what Super Mario Land was to Super Mario Brothers. You know, it was just this kind of different animal that was really weird, and it had flying pigs in it. But it had. See, now Donkey Kong Land 2 and 3 were basically like, you know, portable ports of their relative, you know, their Super Nintendo cousins. That was not the case with this game. Like this game had a bunch of unique environments and a great original soundtrack to it. Like there were only a couple of tracks that were pulled from Donkey Kong Country. For the most part, the music in this was just brand new 8-bit David Wise music, which is so
awesome.
Good. It's so awesome. I love the soundtrack of this game, and it did a bunch of things that Donkey Kong Country 2 eventually did before that game did, like the climbing on ropes. Like on the ship levels, like that was a big thing in Donkey Kong Country 2, and the oh god, those levels are so great because Donkey Kong Country 2 is also a fantastic game. But
absolutely,
the whole like climbing on ropes and then like switching between the two different ropes, like rope nets kind of things. Because the game did take place after Donkey Kong Country, like that was again part of the story. So like King K. Rool was back at it again, but it was just because they needed the game to happen again. So like, you know, there's pirate ship stages in this one as opposed to the pirate ship just being at the end like it was in Donkey Kong Country. And you went to like the city stages and whatnot. It's, you know, it hasn't aged extraordinarily well, but I have so much love for it for being such an absurd concept for a story for a game, and for managing to actually be a functional Donkey Kong platformer on the black and white Game Boy. The game gets a lot of shit, and I don't think it deserves it.
Well, that's an excellent choice, my friend.
Why, thank you.
Speaking of monkeys and donkeys, by the way.
I love that segue.
I do have a segue for this. Have you seen the poster for the War for the Planet of the Apes movie? Have you really, looked at the poster for it?
No.
I am fucking hyped for this movie, and I didn't see the second one. The first one that had James Franco was fucking awesome. I love that movie. I just didn't see the second one for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. I am so hyped for this movie because of this poster. The poster has on one side in the far distance has the army of apes coming towards the viewer, right? Coming towards you as you look at the poster. And in the foreground, you have the human army. But sprinkled within the human army are apes. But on the back of the apes is spray painted the word donkey. I don't know if they're slaves. I don't know if they're apes that are being forced to fight or have decided to fight or whatever the reason is. But these apes have this word donkey spray painted in white on their backs. And it's such a striking image. I am so fucking hyped for this movie.
They're contestants on Fox's Hell's Kitchen.
Shit.
And Gordon Ramsay keeps calling them donkeys.
I am no longer hyped for this movie at all. That guy can go screw. I know he's a big fan of the show, but Gordon Ramsay, you, sir, can fuck off.
So what's your next game?
That was my segue. L.A. Noire for the PlayStation 3. Now, I'm going to go out and say, have you ever played this?
No, I have not. I also didn't know that this game got shit.
It did. I'm going to read you a review here in a minute from a user on Metacritic that I absolutely love. It captures everything that people hate about this game and absolutely nothing about what this game is like. I think I've mentioned this on the show before, but I don't like Rockstar games. I don't think they make very good games. I think they make cool ideas, but the actual game itself, I don't think is very good. I don't like the Grand Theft Auto games. Red Dead was okay. Manhunt was fine. Fucking State of Emergency was shit. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, State of Emergency was a pile of garbage. I'm glad you said that about Red Dead Redemption because
it's okay.
It's okay. It didn't grab me. I didn't spend a ton of time with it, but that's because it didn't really grab me the way that I had hoped it would, because I did actually spend some time with Red Dead Revolver, but that was Rockstar finished that game after Capcom had started it. And I thought there was some really cool stuff in Red Dead Revolver, but then Red Dead Redemption went all open worldy, and I'm not a huge fan of open world stuff with the exception of Breath of the Wild, apparently.
It's not even the open world thing that turns me off to it. I don't think Rockstar makes good games. I don't think the Grand Theft Auto games are good.
I don't think they're fun. I really tried with a couple of them.
The driving mechanics are terrible.
Oh God, they're awful. They don't control well.
Their games do not control well. They look clunky as fuck. I just don't think they make very good shit. That being said, I think L.A. Noire is by far the best game that they've made. And L.A. Noire gets a lot of shit for being boring, for having moments where the main character, Cole, the main detective that you play, has some moments that don't make a lot of sense for his character, and that is true. But then again, you consider the fact that it's a Rockstar game, and because this is set in the in early century police detective work, right? It's the 40s in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles in the 40s is a very different place than the world of today when it came out. And there's a lot of really, really good storytelling done. There's a lot of really good writing done. The fact that you are solving the crimes, it's a bit linear for how you solve the crimes. That's, I suppose, a fair criticism of the game. But it was different. When this game came out, there weren't a lot of games that had that sort of interactivity with it, where you were searching a scene for clues, and it kind of like, I know you don't like, Kris, you don't like Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain and those style games.
No, David Cage can go scratch.
Yeah, this is the more exciting version of those games. Like, it has some similar elements where you're investigating a crime scene, but I think it was done really well. Now, one of the things where it feels like you're having kind of a strange character moment is that you have this very straight-laced kind of cop who is, by the book and whatnot, and you're trying to solve these crazy murders and what have you, and then all of a sudden you have to like shoot 25 guys and like you just murdered 25 dudes. But then you remember it's a Rockstar game and you go, well, of course you had to fucking murder 25 dudes. Like that's a Rockstar thing. But people hate on this game, and it got really good critic reviews, but the people who hate this game really hate this game. And there was just an announcement made that this was going to be getting some PlayStation VR stuff, and a lot of the comments I saw was like, fucking why? Nobody liked this game. And it was like, what? Are you crazy? Let me read you this review real quick here of L.A. Noire. This is by a Metacritic user named Mazmat. So I gave him credit, so that means I can read it. It's actually a sad indictment on the professional video game reviewers that this game can... He gave it a 0, by the way. A 0 out of 100.
Wow.
It's actually a sad indictment on the professional video game reviewers that this game can score such high reviews when there are 39 users who have written clearly honest reviews who feel this game is boring and thus not worthy of being purchased. Too many times I have read glowing reviews of the quote-unquote professionals and purchased a game and then regretted not paying enough attention to more objective reviews of gamers. Just because Rockstar's name is on this, and therefore we have been kind of looking forward to it, doesn't make it a good game. Like, goddamn, dude. This game is fucking dope. I played it with my wife. She grew up in Los Angeles. Her father, my father-in-law, is a big history buff for this time period of Los Angeles, because if you think about what the 40s were in this country, that was the birth of Hollywood. That was the birth of Los Angeles becoming this big deal that it is today. However, all of the freeways were not there. So when I was playing this game and you got clues for how to solve things, Tiff was sitting next to me on the couch and she was like, oh, that's behind the old Paramount Studios. You got to go over here. And she knew where to fucking go because it is a spot-on recreation of Los Angeles.
That's pretty cool.
Fucking awesome. I love this game. And this one and my next one are probably the two that most truly hit this topic of games that people shit on, because this Mazmat user is not alone in his hatred for this game. It's fucking awesome. Does it have problems? Obviously, all video games have problems. Breath of the Wild has problems.
It does.
You know what I mean? Like that's not a fair to just be like, it's not perfect. That's not a fair criticism.
That's a fun point that you bring up about kind of reviews in general. Like, I know there were a lot of people that were giving IGN shit for giving Zelda a perfect 10. And they had to keep saying, like, I listened to IGN's Nintendo voice chat, and they kept saying on there, like, you have to read the review. A 10 doesn't mean that it's a perfect game. There's no such thing as a perfect game. It means that it was, for us, it was a perfect gaming experience, not that it doesn't have any flaws. And, like, I totally respect that. Like, the thing about reading reviews is that it's always going to be someone's opinion, and you just have to gravitate towards reviewers that you trust, not all reviewers. A reviewer is never going to objectively say this game is an 8 out of 10. It's always going to be that person's opinion of the game, and
right. I mean, that's what we're talking about now.
Man.
You know, like we're doing the same thing. We're like, I would say if you haven't played L.A. Noire, you're fucking doing yourself a disservice. This is a dope fucking game that did not sell nearly like Rockstar had hoped. I mean, we've never seen a sequel to it. This PlayStation VR stuff that's coming out is pretty awesome. It's a really, really awesome game. There's a lot of really cool stuff to this game that people just shit on because it wasn't. And again, I think that's a lot of what we're talking about tonight is people expected Grand Theft Auto in the 40s. And that is not what this game is. You know what I mean? Like, this is not Grand Theft Auto with gangsters and Tommy guns. This is a detective game where you have to think a little bit. And, like, I'm not trying to say that to shit on people. It's just not Grand Theft Auto. And that's okay. That's why I like it, you know? I thought it was great.
Awesome. Well, we're going a little bit long here, so I'm going to cut a few and just move. I'm going to skip ahead to the GameCube game, product number 3.
Do people shit on product number 3? Have they just not played it?
Yeah, people shit on that game.
That's weird.
I think it's because it is, like, the biggest complaints were the gameplay isn't extraordinarily varied, and pretty much the whole game takes place in a series of white corridors. But, I loved this game. It was like, I don't know, it's unlike anything else I've played, really. It's not your typical 3D shooter. It doesn't control like your typical 3D shooter. It's almost like it's kind of a lot about how quickly you can mash the A button and then the triggers to dodge. Like, it's a very, very precise game. I'm surprised that there isn't, like, more of a speedrunning community around this game. Like, I'm surprised this game didn't take off within, like, the kinds of people that love games like Ikaruga, because it's kind of like a cross between a 3D, like, action game. I guess not really. Uncharted isn't really the kind of thing I'm looking for, but something like that, like your typical 3D shooter and a shmup.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant. I think Vanessa Schneider was a really well-designed character. I think she just looks awesome. I think, yeah, it's a valid complaint that there's not a lot of variety in the actual stages, but I was so engrossed by the gameplay when I was blowing through this game, I didn't even care. Like, because it was just all about, how do I get through this stage as fast as I can? How do I blow up all these different machines? And, like, there's very few varieties of enemies, and I don't know. This game really got torn apart, and it was a massive failure. Like, almost nobody bought or played this game.
It's such a shame.
Such a shame.
I couldn't agree with you higher, man, or more strongly. Product number 3 is such a unique experience. And I don't say unique experience to disguise bad gameplay. Like, yes, the environments are repetitive. Yes, the enemies are repetitive. Have you ever been to a factory? That shit's fucking repetitive. Like,
it is.
You know what I mean? Like, perhaps it's a little too realistic. That's, again, there are some fair criticisms for games that people don't like. But to bash the game because it's going for a certain type of thing and executes that type of thing. Dude, this game is unlike anything you will ever play.
And I think
there are no other games like product number 3. And that's not necessarily what makes it awesome. What makes it awesome is that this is a game that you will play that is unlike any other, and it's really good at what it does. It feels really good to do the thing it wants you to do.
But it only feels that way if you're not trying to play it like a regular game. Like, this isn't a run and gun game. This isn't going to play like your typical. It's not going to play like Siphon Filter or other kinds of games of its era. Because if you try to play this game like that, you're going to die. Like, it is a very, very methodical kind of shooter, and I think a lot of people just didn't get that. And it's again, to a lesser extent of judging it based on something that it isn't, but it's the game doesn't do an extraordinarily good job of teaching you that you can't just play this game like your typical action game, because it looks like you should be able to play it like that, but you can't. And what else I loved about it is it's always got that kind of thumping bass to it, and your character is always dancing. And so, like, all of the moves that you're doing are, like, have this kind of odd rhythmic sense to them. Like, you're always, like, take a couple of shots, then hit the L trigger, and you do this, like, dance dodge to the left, or double tap it, and you'll do a cartwheel or something. And it's all about, shoot, dodge, and trying to pull it off in a way that's going to get everything else around you blown up. And it looks stylish as fuck. Like, this game is totally unique, and it really, really got torn apart, and it didn't get ported to anything like the other Capcom games that Capcom really believed in, like Beautiful Joe and Resident Evil 4. They wound up on PlayStation 2 at the time. Piano 3 is the only one of the Capcom 5 that stayed exclusive to Nintendo, and it's a shame.
Such a shame. Such a shame. That game would do so much business as a digital download title now.
I still don't even know about that. I feel like this game is
I really think it would.
It deserves to, but I don't think it would, because this is a niche game. It's like saying that Ikaruga is going to do gangbusters as a digital download. Well, I mean, it will do well for its small audience, but that's the thing. This game looked like a game that was intended for a huge audience, but it played like a very niche game. And I think it got unfairly critiqued because of that fact. Like, nobody's playing Ikaruga and saying this is a bad game. They're saying this is really good for this type of audience. And product number 3 got judged based on not the audience that I believe it was intended for, because it's just not your typical game.
No, it is not a typical shooter, even a little bit. It is so much about style, and it's a fucking awesome game. Like, and what's weird about product number 3 is that there's really no good way to describe it. You know what I mean? Like, the description you just gave was spot on, and even that's not good enough to convince people to play it. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that once you do play it and you're like, oh, okay, like, once it clicks with you, it's one of the best games you've ever played, because it's so different and so cool, and so, like, you want to keep getting better and better at what you're doing. Like, it's one of the few games that I've played where I, like, legitimately felt after each little encounter, I could have done that better. I want to go back and do that better.
It kind of it grades you, and then you think to yourself, yeah, I see why it gave me a C. I can do better. Let me try again.
It almost has the like, you remember when the original Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series was coming out, and you were doing the now maybe this is just for me, but like, you were doing the tournament levels, right? And you had to, like, score a certain amount of points, and you would get, like, the gold medal or whatever. There were ways to do that where you could, like, go into Tony Hawk and you could just pull off these ridiculous, like, I did 8-900s that run and, like, crazy grinds and whatnot. It was like, okay, I can get the high score this way, or I can challenge myself to actually put together, like, a cool run in this game and get a cool score. Like, I always felt like I could push it better and better and wanted to do better. You know what I mean? And this game, I feel, had a similar kind of thing of like, yeah, that's fair. That was a B. I could totally do better that time. And it wasn't just about I got more points. It was about how you did it.
Yeah.
Kind of the way Capcom almost did that with Devil May Cry a little bit. Like, it wasn't necessarily just about how many points you got, but it was about how cool it looked while you did it too. I don't know if maybe they pulled a little bit of that from there, but yeah, fucking Piano 3 is amazing.
Yeah, if you have yourself a GameCube, track down a copy for like 50 cents, because nobody wants it. And,
nobody wants it, and they're all
it's
wrong.
So worth it. Yeah,
100%
it's really worth
wrong.
your time.
Yeah.
All right, let's do each do one more, and then
all right, I have my last one, which we've talked about quite a bit, but I just wanted to bring it up again. It's a game that a lot of people hate for a very stupid reason, and that is Metal Gear Solid 2. Metal Gear Solid 2 is not the worst game in the franchise. It is not the game that, what the fuck was Hideo Kojima thinking? Like, it's
it
awesome,
is, because
But
there's a lot of what the fuck was Kojima thinking in that game, but not in like a bad way.
Different. It's no different than any other Metal Gear Solid game.
It's weirder than the first Metal Gear Solid.
It's no weirder than 3, 4, or 5.
Well, that is true, but it is definitely weirder than the first Metal Gear Solid, because at no point were you doing naked cartwheels in the original Metal Gear Solid.
But even that's not that weird. I mean, really think about it. Put yourself objectively into that situation. You're naked. You got to get from point A to point B. You don't want your cash and prizes flopping all about, so you cup them. But you got to get from one side of a hallway to another quickly. You do a fucking no-handed cartwheel, man. That's how I do it. That's how you should do it, Kris.
That's how America does it.
That's how America does it.
It's worked out pretty well so far.
Metal Gear Solid 2.
That's how Dad did it.
That's how Dad did it. Hands over his junk. Metal Gear Solid 2 is a game that unfairly, because like a lot... Did you hear that? Tiff just threw a cardboard box down the stairs because I'm doing the manly thing. Because you're talking
about Metal Gear Solid.
I'm doing the manly thing, and I am recording a podcast while she assembles the girls' beds because my wife is a bad motherfucker. She's got a wallet and everything. A lot of people who hate on Metal Gear Solid 2 are like, you don't play as Snake. This game sucks. You play as Raiden. Or Raiden. I don't even know how to say it. Bleh. It's fucking stupid. It's a dumb criticism for a game. Just because it didn't give you what you want doesn't mean it's a bad game. Metal Gear Solid 2 is fucking dope. It's a good game.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 2 is great.
It plays just as well as every other Metal Gear Solid game. It gave you new and interesting things to do as Raiden that you couldn't do as Snake. It's fucking good. It is a very, very good game. And if you like Metal Gear games, this is just another Metal Gear game. Like, it's a fucking awesome game. And this game gets shit on so hard.
It does, because
so
it was
hard.
I mean, they kind of brought it on themselves. Like, I don't think it deserves it, but they did pull a real bait and switch.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, they pulled a huge bait and switch. They released a demo included in Zone of the Enders that everybody bought because everybody had to try Metal Gear Solid 2. And the whole demo of Metal Gear Solid 2 was you playing as Snake. And so you finally get the game, and as soon as you get past that demo, no more Snake. Whole game changes. Like, what? Now, I really love Metal Gear Solid 2. I think it's a phenomenal game. I think Raiden's a piece of shit, but
sure, he's not a great character.
And he gets better. It was tough playing as him when you really wanted to be playing as Snake because Snake is awesome. But Snake was in the game too. You weren't playing as him past that intro sequence.
No, and those moments where like you kind of run into Snake are so cool, and it was such a different perspective on the franchise. Mm-hmm. I thought that was so fun. And that dude, ballsy as far as video game developing is concerned. Holy shit, that was a ballsy move.
Those people, the people that absolutely hate this game for not having Snake, are the people that absolutely hate Iron Man 3 because of the Mandarin thing.
Which is ridiculous, because that was the coolest fucking thing.
Great. It was absolutely great.
And if you watch the shit at the end of that, they fucking reintroduced the Mandarin concept any goddamn. So shut up. Stupid.
And eventually Snake is reintroduced. I mean, it's
come on.
Kojima doing this Kojima thing, but people didn't. I don't think people knew what the Kojima thing was back then because there wasn't anything so over the top weird yet. Metal Gear Solid was still mostly grounded in reality, you know? And then this one comes along and you've mostly grounded in reality.
Psycho Mantis is reading your fucking Vulcan rate. Like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Psycho Mantis was about as weird as it got, but now in Metal Gear Solid 2, there's a vampire.
Sure.
That's a little weird. Like, okay, like, Psycho Mantis, they almost like half explained or whatever is just like this very weird thing. But now you got a vampire running around. You got the girl who like bullets don't hit. And you're playing as Raiden, and then eventually the game like starts bugging out, and the Colonel starts quoting weird shit from the original NES version of Metal Gear, and things get really, really out of hand. And I think people weren't expecting that. Not just the fact that you weren't playing as Snake, but like that shit was jarring. Like even for me,
it was.
That shit was jarring, and I think it was jarring in a great way. But I get why people didn't like that.
People need to get over their bullshit.
They do. I agree, because Metal Gear Solid 2 is great, and if you like you like the Metal Gear series, you really got to play it.
It's great.
Okay, I'll finish this off here with Pack Picks for the Nintendo DS.
I have no idea what that is.
So Pack Picks is a game that I think gets really unfairly labeled as a tech demo that they sold as a game, because it's really easy to look at it and think that's what it is, because they did initially use this, I believe, as some sort of tech demo.
Okay.
This is a really early DS game where you draw your own Pac-Man on the screen, and that Pac-Man comes to life and starts eating ghosts.
That sounds awesome.
It's a really, really neat concept, and what they did was they took that tech demo and made it into a game. Now, you can do that in a really crappy way, obviously.
Sure.
I think they did not do it in a crappy way. I think this game is incredibly clever. So they added a bunch of rules to the thing, and what you do is you draw Pac-Man, and there's ghosts on the screen, and you have to draw Pac-Man's mouth larger than the ghost he's trying to eat. And you also draw walls on the bottom screen that direct Pac-Man. So if you draw a vertical line, Pac-Man will turn up. You know what I mean? And then you draw a horizontal one to the left, he'll turn left when he runs into it. And it's all the Pac-Man that you drew. It doesn't, like, fill in or anything like that. If you draw some hideous fucking Pac-Man creature with a giant bottom jaw, it's going to start animating like that. It's hilarious. And, you know, it's got the little pass-through things there where he goes up into the top screen to collect fruit, and it's really, really clever. I really, 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 really like this game. It's got really good music. It's got an excellent sense of art. The art direction is really, really clever. This game is absolutely great, and it was one of those really creative early DS games. But for some reason, stuff like Trauma Center got like absolutely praised and worthy of being praised for being really creative with the touchscreen. This game, I've had people always talk about this just being, oh, this is just a tech demo they tried to sell as a full price game, and I think that is utter bullshit. This game is absolutely great. I found this game in a dollar bin at my local game store. At Level Up Entertainment, they were selling this game for $1 because this game is worthless. Nobody likes this game, and it pains me because it's great. If you really try it and you just play by the rules and try to draw your Pac-Man, because you only have a certain number of them too. Like you can only draw, like you have these many things to get to. And like there's certain things that'll kill your Pac-Man. You have to draw a new one. You only have a certain number of Pac-Mans that you can draw to get through a stage. So it's got really unique puzzle elements to it. It's just such a cool game. It's such a cool game. If you've got a DS, you've got to give it a try.
That's awesome. I've legitimately never heard of that.
Yeah, and it's very much designed for the DS. Like, you couldn't do this on any other platform because it needs that touch screen and the dual screen thing going on. It's, you know, we're not talking like New Super Mario Brothers that plays just fine on a TV because the second screen is essentially worthless. Like, this is a game that really, really uses the DS, kind of like Kirby Canvas Curse, you know? Like, it's one of those very uniquely DS games, and it's absolutely spectacular. I really, really loved it. And when it came out, I adored it, and I used to sell it all the time at my Game Crazy. And then, like, in no time, I found out that I was almost completely alone in my love of this game. Like, so many people wrote it off, and I don't get it. I really don't get it, because I don't understand how you could play that game and not think that it was a really creative and innovative thing. It just don't.
It's so weird. That sounds really fun. I mean, it sounds like, obviously you can see where there could be some problems with that sort of thing, but okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's mad forgiving with what you do. If it's even remotely shaped like Pac-Man, it's gonna come to life.
That's awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome.
It's
and
great.
people
And like
are dumb.
the slower ones, like the bigger you draw Pac-Man, the more destructive it can be, but it moves really slow. And if you draw a little teeny tiny Pac-Man, he's gonna go super fast. And like the sound of him going waka 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 is gonna change. So if you draw a little tiny one, he's go waka 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 waka, and you draw a big one, he's going waka waka waka. It's awesome. It's so cool. They put so much attention to detail in this game. And I feel so bad that it gets ripped on for being a tech demo dressed up as a full game, because it's really not. They did a lot of creative stuff with the levels and the puzzles. Definitely track this game down.
That sucks, man. There's a lot of shit on the DS that was like, okay, this is stupid. Like, I see what you're going for. This is dumb. That sounds really cool. And like, again, there's just, I think a lot of times we get spoiled and we're like, hey, this isn't the thing that I wanted in exactly the manner in which I wanted it, so I'm going to be upset about that. Which, I mean, I suppose is your prerogative as a consumer, but a lot of times we have to just learn to give over to the experience and trust that these people maybe know a little bit more than we do as far as how to make games. You know, or I don't know, just vary up expectations. I don't understand. It's something that I really don't understand about people who only want to play the same type of game over and over again. You know, I only play shooters. I only play sports games. I only do X, Y, or Z. That has never made any sense to me. So,
you know,
maybe,
just
maybe we're wrong, Chris.
Maybe we usually are, but at least I am. A quick little sidestep there. Speaking of DS games that are underappreciated, like this game didn't get shit on or anything. I just don't think anybody bothered to play it. But again, another really early DS game, Dig Dug Digging Strike.
I know you love that. I know that is one of your fucking goals in life is to get more people to play that game.
If you ever wanted a Dig Dug 3, this is the game. It's because it does a magnificent job of combining the original Dig Dug and Dig Dug 2. So the bottom screen plays like a game of regular Dig Dug when you're underground, and then the top screen plays like Dig Dug 2 where you're on top of things and you're trying to like nail in these giant posts into the ground to carve off chunks of an island that you're on. It is absolutely brilliant. It's so good. And again, it's a very much a DS game. Like, this game needs the dual screen thing. It was built perfectly for the DS, and it is absolutely brilliant. If you really like Dig Dug, and if you've one of the 8 people in America that played Dig Dug 2, because apparently that game, I think it was big in Japan, but it was not very big here in America. But Dig Dug 2 is a really cool game, and this combines Dig Dug 1 and 2. It is the Dig Dug 3 you've always wanted. Track that sucker down. It's another one that's dirt cheap because nobody bought it, but it's more just underappreciated than hated, and I think it's great because I don't think, unlike Pac Pix, like, it didn't get any attention. People don't even call it a tech demo. It's just like, oh, they made a Dig Dug game for a 3DS. For DS. That's neat. All right, that's going to wrap up this business. So let's move on to our summer series poll. This is going to be the last one that we do because the summer is going to be over by the time we're done doing this. And so what we did is Dan and I put up 6 games for everybody to vote on, and the 2 that got the most votes are the games that we will be playing and then discussing in August. So here's how it panned out. Bottom of the list in 6th place with only 8 votes, King of Demons.
That's a shame.
That is a shame. It's not surprising, though. I'm pretty sure nobody knows what it is.
I was going to say, who the hell knows what this Japanese import game is? Back to what we talked about earlier, who the fuck knows what that shit is?
Yeah. Coming in 5th place with 15 votes, General Chaos for Sega Genesis.
I am surprised that didn't get higher.
I'm surprised. I'm actually not. I figured that was a long shot because I didn't know a lot of people who have played it. And what's interesting about General Chaos getting the votes that it did, most of it was when I posted this on my personal Facebook page, and it got that won on my personal Facebook page. But on the Stone Age Gamer page was where we got the most votes, and it barely got any from there. Coming in next with 16 votes, beating it by only one, was God Hand for PlayStation 2.
That's not surprising. I'm actually surprised that got that many.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's got a bit of a following. So next up, and for a while there, this was close, but this one wound up in third place, so we will not be playing Golden Axe Warrior on Sega Master System.
That sucks. I'm going to play it anyway. Fuck you guys.
So that means that the top two games, so Golden Axe got 20 votes. With 23 votes, Karnov for NES.
That's exciting.
Which I'm excited about because I've never really played the game. So I'm looking forward to giving it a real shot. And the clear, far and away winner with 35 votes, Crystalis for NES.
That actually does surprise me quite a bit.
Yeah, I figured it. I thought that it might be number one, but I didn't think it was going to be number one by that much. Yay. It's another game I've really never put any time into. And there was a lot of comments about, make sure you play the NES game and not the shitty Game Boy Color game. Don't worry, we're playing the NES game.
No, I'm playing the shitty Game Boy Color one now. Fuck, that's what's happening.
So we broke our streak. Crystalis was not Data East as far as I know.
Damn it, but isn't Karnov?
Karnov is Data East. Remember, we've always wound up with like two from the same company. Like we did with two Capcom games and Trojan with Mega Man X, and then last time we did two Hudson games. But Crystalis and Karnov are both made by different companies. Who made Crystalis? Who made that game?
Did Data East even make any other games other than Karnov?
Oh yeah, dude. Side Pocket, Bad Dudes, Heavy Barrel.
I'm being a dick.
Crystalis, who did you? Oh, Crystalis is SNK, Durf. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
I'm really excited to play that. I know that's one of those games where like people are like, "Oh, you haven't fucking played Crystalis? Like, what's wrong with you? Why haven't you played this game?" And I've actually never spent any time with it whatsoever. So I'm glad I suggested it. Yeah, I have no idea.
Huh.
It could possibly be the greatest game in the
I've
history
spent
of
a
the
little
world.
bit of time with it. Not a ton, but I've spent a little bit of time with it. I've messed around in the first stage. Well, you know what? Karnov does have a connection to the Neo Geo, so there's a little bit of a connection there.
Where you're stretching it a bit, but that's okay.
A tad.
That's okay. It's our show, Chris. We can do whatever the hell we want.
We can, and you know what else we can do? We can remind people that they can join us next week.
That was an excellent segue.
It was. You know what? And I don't even know what we're doing next week. I was about to go the whole thing, and I realized, oh yeah, I couldn't look up what we're doing next week because actually, I bet I could. Let's see if I've got it in my calendar. And then real time, live on the Stone Age Gamer
Exhilarating
podcast.
podcasting right here.
Exhilarating podcasting.
I am wrapped with attention.
Did I even write down what next week is? No, I did not. No. So we have no idea what we're talking about next week, but I guarantee it's going to be awesome.
That's without question.
Without question. What else is without question is that you can get in touch with us at mail@geekade.com, as well as all flavors of social media that we inhabit. You can like us on Facebook, find us on Instagram at Geekade, subscribe to our YouTube and Twitch channels for all our latest video content, and follow us on Twitter at _Geekade. You can also find us individually on Twitter. I'm at Geekade Chris, that's Geekade KRIS, and Dan, you are available at
Geekade Dan.
If you're interested in more information about anything we discussed here tonight, be sure to check out our show notes. And while you're at it, you can also subscribe to this and any of our other wonderful podcasts on iTunes or Stitcher, where if you're super duper nice, you can leave us a review because any and all feedback is welcome and appreciated. We would also like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making the show listenable for all you folks. And we'd like to thank Mark TDK Knight for our show's theme. You can check him out on SoundCloud and Bandcamp, or his website, which we'll have linked to in the show notes. Again, always remember to keep your eyes on Geekade.com, where we post things a lot.
Next week, we're talking about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, we'll just be talking about the Game of Thrones premiere. It'll be great and relevant.
Yep.
All right, everybody. On behalf of myself and Dan, keep playing games.
I will keep playing games.